How dare you stare at her like that right in front of me?
I wasn't, honey.
In the town of Ilorin lived a woman everyone knew, yet no one truly understood. Her name was Zara. Whenever she walked through the streets, cars stopped. Guys paused in the middle of an argument. The fabric merchants forget their customers. Even married men with wives beside them, turned their heads. She was breathtaking. Not simply beautiful, but unforgettable. Her skin shone softly. Her lips were always perfectly colored. Her eyes were deep and mysterious. Men brought her roses. They brought her jewelries. Some even wrote poems for her, but none of them lasted because Zara never accepted love easily. She tested every man. One suitor, a wealthy businessman named Tunde, took her for a fine restaurant dinner. He bragged about money, about cars, about connections. That night, Zara pretended to fall asleep without removing her makeup. In the morning, he laughed and said, "You don't need all these paints. I want to see the real you." Zara smiled politely, but the next day, she blocked his number forever. Another man invited her to the beach. She refused to swim. "I don't like water," she said calmly. He laughed and pulled her towards the wave. She never answered his call again. Another begged, "Please, just once, let me see your natural face." That was the end of him too. Zara had one rule. No one must ever see her without makeup. People called her proud. Some called her vain, but they were wrong. Her makeup was not decoration. It was protection. And Zara guarded it like her life depends on it, because it actually did. Every night, after everyone slept, Zara locked her door, sat before her mirror, and whispered to her reflection, "If they ever see you, you will lose everything." But what exactly was she hiding? Zara's dressing table looked like a cosmetic store. Powders, brushes, creams, oils, lipsticks, perfectly arranged. Morning and night, she sat there for hours. She wore makeup to the market. She wore makeup to visit friends. She even wore makeup while sleeping. Once, when she fell ill, she refused to let the doctor enter until she applied powder. Her friends joked, "Even when Zara dies, she will enter the grave with lipstick." She laughed, but inside, she was terrified. Sometimes she stared at the mirror for long minutes, touching her cheeks, tracing her lips. Then she would whisper, "This is who they love, not me." Her smile would slowly fade, and fear replaced it, because beneath the powder was a truth she could never allow the world to see. Then, one day, she met a man who changed everything. Unlike every other man, this one never once asked about her beauty, and that frightened her more than anything. His name was Hassan. He was older than most of her suitors, quiet, gentle, careful with words. He never brought expensive gifts. He never bragged. He never tried to touch her face. Instead, he asked, "What makes you happy?" No one had ever asked her that before. They began walking together in gardens, talking under evening skies. He spoke about building a home, about peace, about companionship, not beauty. For the first time in years, Zara felt safe. She began to believe, this man will never try to uncover me. And slowly, she fell in love. Months passed. They were always seen together. People started saying, this one will finally marry her. And one evening, Hassan knelt down and proposed. Zara did not hesitate. She said yes. She believed she had finally found the only man who would never discover her secrets. But she was wrong. Because on the night of their wedding, Zara would cry for the first time in decades, and that single tear would destroy her entire life. The wedding day arrived, brighter than any day Zara had ever known. The hall glittered with lights, music floated into the air, women elated in excitement. People whispered as she walked in, "Look at her, she looks unreal. She looks like a queen." Zara wore a flowing white gown. Her face glowed perfectly. Flawless skin, shining lips, long lashes. No one noticed how many times she secretly checked her compact mirror. Even during the ceremony, she touched her cheeks carefully, almost fearfully. Hassan stood waiting at the altar, smiling with pride. To him, she was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. But what he loved most was not her face. It was her gentleness, her calmness, her quiet nature. He held her hands during the vows. They exchanged rings. The crowd erupted in applause. They danced, they laughed, they celebrated deep into the evening. But while everyone rejoiced, Zara carried a silent tension in her chest because the celebration would end. And when it did, she would be alone with her husband for the first time. Alone, with no escape. And she knew marriage meant something she had successfully avoided her entire life: being seen. Night fell. The guests left. The music faded. Candles lit their bedroom. Zara and Hassan finally entered their new home together. Hassan was happy, almost boyish with excitement. He lifted her playfully in his arms. "Tonight," he laughed, "my wife is finally mine." Zara forced a smile, but gently turned her face away, a habit she had practiced for decades. He didn't notice. He spun with her happily. Then suddenly, his foot slipped on the long rug. Everything happened in a second. He lost his balance. His head struck the wooden bed frame. A heavy sound filled the room. Then, silence. Hassan collapsed, unmoving. Zara froze. Her mind went blank. Then panic exploded inside her. She dropped to her knees beside him. "Hassan! Hassan, wake up!" No response. Her hands shook as she held his head. Blood. Her breathing broke. For the first time in many years, she forgot about herself. She forgot the mirror. She forgot the powder. She forgot the rules. And then a tear fell. One tear, then another. They rolled down her cheeks, washing away the powder she had carefully guarded for years. But she did not notice. All she saw was the man she loved lying still. "Please, God, not him, not him." And at that exact moment, Hassan opened his eyes and saw her real face. His eyes struggled to focus. Then they landed on her, and his expression changed. Confusion, then fear, then horror. His lips trembled. "Zara." His voice shook. "What happened to you?" Zara froze. Her hand slowly touched her cheek. Not smooth, not soft. Dry skin. Deep lines, wrinkles. Her powder had melted under her tears. Her secret was gone. Hassan stared, breathing fast. The young bride he had married moments ago was no longer before him. Instead, an old woman knelt on the ground, her hair thin, her skin folded with age, older than his own grandmother. He pushed himself forward, against the wall. No, this is not real." Zara covered her face and sobbed. Hassan, please. He grabbed the bed for support. How old are you? She could not answer. He moved towards the door. She crawled forward, grabbing his leg. Please don't leave, please. I am still me. But the more she cried, the more her makeup dissolved, and the older she appeared. Hassan whispered, shaking, You lied to me? Who are you? And finally, Zara spoke. I must tell you the truth. And the story she was about to reveal would make Hassan wish he had never met her. Hassan stood near the door, shaking. Zara remained on the floor, her hands trembling as she wiped her tears. But each touch only revealed more of her true face. The silence in the room was heavier than anger. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was no longer confident. It was tired. I was not always like this, she swallowed. It began many years ago, when I was 35. Hassan said nothing. He only watched. I was engaged once, she continued. I loved him. I trusted him. I believed my life had finally started. Her voice cracked. But he left me for someone younger. The words hurt her even now. I could not sleep. I could not eat. Everywhere I went, people looked at me with pity. They said my time had passed, that my beauty was fading, that no man would stay. Her fingers clenched the floor. That night, I walked outside the town crying. I did not know where I was going until I met her. Hassan whispered carefully. Met who? Zara lifted her eyes. An old woman, and she already knew my name before I spoke. The night had only been cold. The woman stood beside a lonely path, holding a small lantern. Her back was bent. Her eyes were sharp. She looked directly into Zara's face and said, You are afraid of growing old. Zara felt her heart stop. The woman smiled slowly. I can help you. From a small pouch, she removed a fine powder. It will keep your youth. The woman said, No man will ever leave you again. Zara hesitated. But pain is powerful. Loneliness is louder than wisdom. She took it. The rule was simple, Zara told Hassan. As long as I never cried for love, my youth would remain. Hassan frowned. And if you cried? Zara whispered, Time will come for me all at once. She continued, At first, I thought it was a blessing. Men admired me. Years passed, but I did not age. Her voice trembled. The men I dated grew old. Some died. Hassan's face hardened. You watched them die? Zara closed her eyes. I stayed with them to feel loved, but I never truly loved them. I could not risk crying. Then she looked at him. But you were different. You were the first man I loved enough to forget the rule. Hassan stepped back slowly. So, your tears tonight? Zara nodded weakly. I cried because I thought you were dying. The room felt colder. My youth existed only because my heart stayed close, she said. The moment I loved someone more than myself, a hand shook. The course ended. Hassan whispered, How old are you, truly? Zara looked at him. I have lived 100 years. The candles flickered. Hassan's breathing became uneven. He stared at her as if seeing death himself. You let me marry you knowing this? Her eyes filled again. I didn't want to be alone anymore. But then something began to happen. Her hands trembled violently. Her skin tightened, then loosened. Her back bent further. Her hair whitened rapidly before his eyes. She was aging fast. Every second stole years. Hassan watched in horror. "Zara, what is happening?" She struggled to speak. "Time is taking back what it lent me." And Hassan realized he was watching a lifetime disappear in minutes. Her breathing weakened. Her voice thinned into a whisper. She stretched her fragile hand towards him. "Hassan, please stay." He wanted to move forward, but fear held his feet. Tears rolled down her ancient face. "I only wanted someone to love me without leaving." Her body shook once, then stopped. Silence filled the room. The candles flickered softly. Hassan stood frozen. Before him lay not the beautiful bride he married, but a frail, lifeless old woman. Morning light entered through the window, and with it, reality. He had not lost his wife. He had never truly known her. The townspeople never heard the full truth. They only knew the marriage ended the same night it began. Hassan left the town shortly after. He never remarried, and in that house, he removed every mirror. Beauty is not dangerous because it fades. It is dangerous when someone believes they are nothing without it. A person who hides their truth to be loved will eventually lose both the love and themselves, because love does not destroy you when it sees who you are. It only leaves when you never allowed it to see you at all. If you were Hassan, would you have stayed? Tell me in the comments, and remember to subscribe because the next story is even more disturbing. Don't forget, it's tale time with Udoka. See you in our next video, and bye for now.